Washington, Democrats launched their arguments in Donald Trump's Senate impeachment trial by warning Republicans they will cause long-term damage to American democracy and freedom around the world unless they remove the U.S. president from office. In a 2-hour speech to the Senate on Thursday Australian time, Adam Schiff, the Democrats' lead prosecutor, said that Trump had pursued a corrupt scheme to pressure Ukraine to help him gain an unfair advantage in the next presidential election. Schiff urged Republicans to look past their own short-term interests and consider the disturbing precedent that acquitting Trump would create for future presidents. In a passionate speech to the Senate, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff made the case for Donald Trump's removal from office. Credit. Senate television. President Trump's abusive powers of his office undermined the integrity of our free and fair elections and compromised America's national security, Schiff said on the floor of the Senate. Advertisement. If we don't stand up to this peril today, we will write the history of our decline with our own hand. If President Trump is not held to account, we send the message to future presidents, future Congresses and generations of Americans that the personal interests of the president can fairly take precedent over those of the nation. The domestic effects of this descent from democracy will be a weakened trust in the integrity of our elections and the rule of law, and a steady decline of the spread of democratic values throughout the world. Schiff said that Trump's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box, for we cannot be assured that the vote will be fairly won, if not remedied by his conviction in the Senate and removal from office. President Trump's abuse of his office and obstruction of Congress will permanently alter the balance of power among the branches of government, Schiff said. The president has shown that he believes that he's above the law and scornful of constraint. The Democrats' oral arguments were the beginning of a marathon 3-day presentation in which they will argue that Trump committed high crimes and misdemeanors by abusing his presidential power and obstructing Congress. Trump's defense team will then have 3 days to argue why he should not be removed from office. There was no sign that the Democrats' arguments had brought them any closer to convincing Republican senators to vote to convict Trump and remove him from office. On day 2 of the trial, there were already signs the patience of senators was wearing thin. Credit. AP 20 of the 53 Republican senators would need to vote to convict Trump, and it is far from assured that any will vote against him. So far we haven't heard anything new from what he heard yesterday, Republican Senator John Cornyn said. Describing impeachment as a nuclear option, he said, "This is something we should not do unless that constitutional standard is met, and I'm struggling to see how that is." Even close, under the trial rules, senators are supposed to remain in the chamber and hear all the evidence being presented to them except for brief bathroom breaks. But there were signs the patience of the senators, who are acting as jurors in the trial, was already wearing thin. While Democratic impeachment manager Jason Crow presented his case, he paused to point out that a large number of Republican senators had left their seats and were milling about the back of the chamber. Several Republican senators said they were offended by the hostile language used by Democratic impeachment managers on Tuesday, especially Jerry Nadler's claim that Republicans had committed treacherous behavior by not forcing the White House to provide documents and witnesses. What Chairman Nadler said and how he conducted himself was outrageous and an insult to the Senate, Cornyn said. "We don't need to continue the clown circus that started over in the House." Democratic Senator John Tester told reporters that Nadler could have chosen better words. Matthew Knott is North America correspondent for the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Most viewed in Worldlet's block ads. Why?